Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my April TBR. Now as always, got a noisy cat in the background and she's very chatty today. So April is going to be a busy month again, like all the months are these days. It is the month that I have my son's birthday. We have Easter at the start, / end of August. We have Easter at the start, but the first 2 weeks are pretty much the kids are off for Easter holidays. And like I said, son's birthday, which reminds me I've got to, yes, mummy jobs. So I will be busy with them. The children obviously come first. But thank God they can do their entertain themselves. But I'm hoping the fact that it's April means it will be warming up. Means I might get to go out in the garden and read. Might get to do some things. Now, the good thing with this TBR is that there is only one big book and one of the big books I'm continuing from March. Bad news, I think I've got like 19 books on this TBR. Yeah, slightly insane, but they're smaller, which is better than March has been, because March has been full of massive books and I've struggled. But there are 2 readathons in April. There is one I'm loosely participating in, which is People April, which is being run by Roz from Langley about the books. I've got 2 books for her readathon. There is TBR Clear Out Readathon, which is hosted by Katie. I'm doing a book for every one of the prompts, and I will be telling you that very shortly. So I'm properly participating in that. I've got a book for every one of them. But her readathon does suit me because it's just meaning reading my physical books, which is always what I like to do. Obviously, we're having Women's Prize going on in April anyway, so I don't know what audiobook I'm planning for April, because I might do a autobiography in honour of People April. I think that's going to be probably my goal. I'll try and find an autobiography, but I will let you know that as and when. You'll find that out probably in my wrap-up part 1, or I may share it on my Instagram post. But I've only got one buddy read at the moment, and that is Set on You by Amy Lee, and that is it's the first in a duology, I believe. Apparently, I'm reading this with Cat from Brews and Reviews. This is like a contemporary fun one. Curvy fitness instructor Crystal Chen built her career shattering gym stereotypes. After a recent breakup, she has little time left for men, instead finding a joy in the gym, her place of power and positivity. Enter firefighter Scott Ritchie, the smug new gym patron who routinely steals her favourite squat rack, soon starts to fly. As the ultra-competitive foes battle for gym dominance, the last thing they expect is to run into each other at their grandparents' engagement party. Ooh. And in the lead-up to the wedding, Crystal discovers that there is a soft heart under Scott's muscular exterior. This does look really good. Romance, fun, not too long, just less than 400 pages. But it's going to be a fun buddy read with the lovely Cat, who I absolutely adore. So I can't wait to do that. Now, before we do the readathons, before we do the seasonal books, before we do the series books, let's see what the TBR jar is going to do. Oh yeah, before I forget, I am continuing with the Crimson Petal and the White. Yeah, I've not read that much of that so far in March, so I've got to really crack on and try and read a lot more of that. That's because literally my big books in March just literally wiped me out. But yeah, I'm carrying on with that. I am enjoying it, but well, let's see. So the TBR jar just to give you an advance warning, the TBR jar in March, was quite good. I read the Marley McFarlane one, and it was really good. 4 stars. Oh, yeah, sneaky tell you it's 4 stars. But let's see what the TBR jar does, and see if I do cheat again. Please tell me he's going to be nice to me. Oh, this is actually the book that's been on one. This will work for the TBR Clear Out, because it's actually been on my shelves for a while. This is The Girl in the Window. And I'm not changing it this month. Yes, Charlie, I'm being good. The Girl in the Window. And this is the one that was left over from last year's TBR jar. So this works very well for the readathon. Only snaggy part is the fact it's probably one of my bigger books. And it is 440 pages. Where did I get the bigger book? But it's one that was in my TBR jar for last year. So I knew that if I didn't get it read this year, it was going to go bye-byes. I do like Rowan Colesman's books. Normally I've read her contemporaries, so this one will be interesting. This is Pondon Hall is a centuries-old house on the Yorkshire moors, a magical place full of stories. It's also where Trudy Heaton grew up and where she ran away from. Now, after the devastating loss of her husband, she is returning home with her young son Will, who refuses to believe that his father is dead. While Trudy tries to do her best for her son, she must also attempt to build bridges with her eccentric mother. And then there is the hall itself, falling into disrepair, but with generations of lives and loves still echoing the shadows, sometimes even reaching out to the present. I think she does include like a bit of magical realism sort of elements in this, so it will be intriguing to see what it's like. I like the author, so it's one of her newer books, so I'm hoping I enjoy that. So that's the TBR jar's not been too bad. Quite happy with that. So now to the 3 books that are on the seasonal books, and then I'll run through Katie's readathon and the prompts. So the first one is the Agatha Christie book, Peril at the End House. Thank you, Alice helped me choose the Agatha Christie because it's a Poirot, which you know I love. Agatha Christie, you know I love. It's not too long. It's only just over 200 pages. Yay, it's less than 250 pages. Sweet's being noisy. And it's less than 200 pages, and it is 240 pages. It is a Poirot, so I don't want to know too much. It's Nick Buckley is suffering from a run of bad luck. First on the treacherous Cornish hillside, the brakes on a car failed. Then on the coastal path, a falling boulder missed her by inches. Later, an oil painting fell and almost crushed her in her bed. Upon discovering a bullet hole in Nick's sun hat, Hercule Poirot decides that the girl needs his protection. At the same time, he begins to unravel the mystery of a murder that hasn't been committed yet. This looks dark, it looks spooky, but it's short, and it's Agatha Christie. I can't flipping wait. Next for one of the other bigger ones. This is Pinko, which is about 500 pages. So this is actually kind of one of the biggest books on the TBR. Yowzers. There's one bigger than this, I think. But so everyone knows about Pinko. I know that Jem from Gemma Books hosted a readathon of this a year or two ago. And it's set over, it's basically a multi-generational saga. It's set over in the early 1900s. A teenage Sunja, the adored daughter of a crippled fisherman, falls for a wealthy stranger in the seashore near her home in Korea. He promises her the world, but when she discovers she is pregnant and that her lover is married, she refuses to be bought. Instead, she accepts the offer of a marriage from a gentle, sickly minister passing through on his way to Japan. But her decision to abandon her home and reject her son's powerful father sets off a dramatic saga that echoes through the generations. Set in Japan, generation saga. I know Jem loved it. I know my sister Charlie wants to read it. I don't know if she's going to buddy read it with me. Wait and see. But this does look really good. And then to the last of the seasonal books, and that is The Wedding Dress by Danny Atkins. I thought I would read this in honour of my sister Vicky's wedding anniversary, which is in April. I also think that like this sort of time of year, like I said, it does bring out the weddings in me. Not that I bloody am married, but this is in honour of Vicky. It's 3 different ladies, Suzanne, Bella and Mandy. Suzanne is engaged to the man of her dreams, except for the lead up to the wedding is beginning to feel more like a nightmare. What is her fiancé hiding? Bella's life was on track until everything changed the night of her hen party. Now she must rebuild her future and decide who she wants to spend it with. Then lastly, Mandy's grandmother has found love, but her family doesn't approve. For her grandmother's dream to come true, Mandy has to plan the secret wedding and find a very special dress. 3 women, 3 love stories, woven together by the perfect dress. Sounds good. Hopefully it won't get me too wedding jealous, but it does look really good. I'm looking forward to reading it. I love Danny Atkins' work. Should be a good one. Now to, look over the page, the TBR Clear Out. I'll tell you the prompts and I'll tell you my answers. And we'll go from there. I'll tell you a little bit about each book. Basically, in this, I wanted to use a lot of these books are the books that I did in my oldest books on my TBR sort of video, which is on here. I'll see if I can remember to link it. But so I've gone basically based on all of, I think this is all of these books were listed in that, or I knew on my older books. So that's how I've gone this. So prompt number 1, Casey said, is set your own TBR clear out goal. I'm setting it as 20, but I know that realistically I can read 20 to 30 of my books, but I'm going to stick it at 20. So that's all of this TBR plus 1 or 1 from the afterwards. You know how I do my mid-month, when I do my wrap-up part 1, I always add books to my TBR then. So I'll set it at 20. I know that I'll be doing a lot more than that. I'll set it between 20 and 30, but yeah, 20 is my formal goal. Prompt number 2, read a book that's been on your TBR for a very long time. This is one of the oldest books, and that is A Day at the Beach Hut, and that is by Veronica Henry. I've got her books, a lot of these books are actually been on my shelf for a while. But this is, I think, a short story collection, so I'm hoping it's alright. I did like the Beach Hut, and I have liked the Christmas at the Beach Hut, so I don't know quite what this is like. It's step into the golden sands of Devon on the coast with this uplifting collections of stories and over 50 recipes. Perfect way to spend a day at the Beach Hut wherever you are. Obviously it's not summer, but it's giving me vibes. It's got recipes in it. It's less than 300 pages, so it should be easy to fly through. Recipes do look good. It looks like it's going to be one I'm going to fly through, but it has been on my TBR a very long time, so I don't know exactly whether it's the oldest. It's not the oldest, but it's one of the oldest, and I've got other books in here that are older, so we'll have to see what I think of it. I do like Veronica Henry's books. The Beach Hut books are good. My only thing that's slightly concerning me is that it's short stories, and I don't really get on with short stories, so I'm a little bit nervous. We'll see. The next one, point number 3, is read a book that's been on your TBR a very short time. So I'm going to include this. Bear in mind, I'm filming this on like the 17th, and I might be going book shopping with Charlie tomorrow, but I'm going to put the newest book before this. And this is a book that I'm reading for the Women's Prize, and that is Night Bloom by Peace Adzo Mendes. It's longlisted for the Women's Prize this year. Charlie wants me to read this next, so it will be read very, very soon. I've read one of the author's works, and I absolutely loved it. This is, I'm warning you guys, I'm not going to say these names right. Akorfa and Salasi were once inseparable. Now they must repair their broken relationship or will lose each other forever. Growing up in the same Ghanaian town, Salasi and the other one were more than just cousins. They were best friends. The girls shared everything. Their dreams, their desires, and their every secret. But as they enter their teens, Salasi begins to change until Akorfa barely recognises the sullen, withdrawal girl she once was. Years go by before the paths cross again, and their lives look very different now. Although they are separated by continents, they have found success in their careers. Akorfa works for an international development in the US. Salasi is a restaurateur running the hottest spot in Accra. It takes a crisis to bring all them back together, forcing both women to confront the shocking secrets and childhood trauma that neither of them has been willing to address. Now they must rebuild the gulf between them to stop history repeating itself. Oh my god, this looks so good. I was waiting for it to come out in paperback because I wanted it then. It looks gorgeous. It looks amazing. I cannot wait to read this. So yeah, that is one of the newest ones that I'm just desperate to read. Prompt number 4, read one of the longest books on your TBR. Now, I do have some classics that are Mahusive, but I'm already doing them separately over the year, so I didn't really want to include that. So I thought I would include a book that is one of the biggest ones and one of the oldest ones, and that is a Lucinda Riley, which, as you can see, I know are Mahusive. This is The Butterfly Room. It's about 627 pages, so it is very big, but I know I fly through this author's work. This is one of her older books. She wrote it before she wrote The Seven Sisters. Posy Montague is approaching her 70th birthday, still living in the beautiful family home, Admiral House, set in the glorious Suffolk countryside where she spent her childhood catching butterflies with her beloved father. Posy knows she must make the agonising decision to sell it. Then a face appears from the past. Freddie, her first lover, who abandoned her and left her heartbroken 50 years ago. Already struggling to cope with problems amongst her grown-up children, Posy is reluctant to trust in Freddie's renewed affection. And unbeknown to Posy, Freddie and the Admiral House has a devastating secret to reveal. It's spellbinding, it's multi-generational. I love Lucinda Riley's writing, so I cannot wait to get to this. But it is one of the oldest books on my TBR, and it's one of the biggest, so that's why I'm going for that. Sorry, Katie, if I've not gone for literally the biggest book, but I'm still trying to take a bit of self-care on myself. Now to read one of the shortest books on the TBR, and this probably is one of the shortest ones, but it also matches People April, and I believe this is Desert Dawn, which is only 225 pages, I think. So it's quite a short book, which I like. It's about fashion model and UN ambassador and courageous spirit. Juarez Deary is a remarkable woman. Born to a traditional family of tribal desert nomads in Somalia, she has told her story, enduring female circumcision at 5 years old, running away from home at 12, and through the desert to escape an arranged marriage. This looks like it's going to be really tough and hitted. Being discovered by Terence Donovan as she works as a cleaner in London and becoming a top fashion model. This looks amazing, but I know it's going to be powerful. It's got pictures, it's an autobiography, but it is a short book, so that matches that prompt perfectly. Then the next one is read a book from your TBR that you fear you've lost interest in. And this is my classic, because I did want to include a classic. And this is another short story collection, but this is Tolstoy short stories. This is the Cruciata Sonata and Other Stories. Again, it's less than about 300, if you ignore the appendices, it's 311 pages. No, that's it, that's a postface. Do I include the postface? It's about 300 pages. It's Tolstoy's writing. Looks like it's been annotated. Great, I didn't see that. But it's got a few different short stories, so I'm going to probably read like that over the course of the month, so that works better. It's 4 short stories apparently, and it's got Family Happiness in it, the Cruciata Sonata, In the Devil, and the Father Sturgis. So it's different like short stories, and it's apparently just got here the best books ever written. It's a Penguin Classics edition. It does look beautiful. I do like Tolstoy's writing. It is a classic and it's like a translated fiction, so it will be quite good. It will be quite interesting. I hope I like it, but it's another short story collection, so that's 2 that I've got on my list. What have I let myself in for? Let's see if I like it. But it is one I haven't really felt the interest in. And then the prompt number 7 is read a book from your TBR that you are very excited about. To be honest, pretty much most of these books I'm really excited about. But the one I decided to do for the prompt, because I didn't want to include another women's prize book, is A Terrible Kindness by Jo Browning Rowe. And this is a book that was sent to me by the lovely Angela from Reading Off My Shelf. She loved it, but it is going to be heartbreaking. It's Charlotte from Coiny Reads, one of her favourite books of last year. It's set in the October of 1966, and William Lavery is having the night of his life at his first black tie do. But as the evening unfolds, news hits that there's a landslide at the coal mine. It buried a school in Aberfan. That was the Aberfan disaster. We all know about that, obviously. Not we all, but a lot of people know. There was the big landslide that killed so many children and adults in Aberfan. William decides he must act, so he stands and volunteers to attend. It will be his first job as an embalmer, and one that he'll never forget. His work that night will force him to think about the little boy he once was and the losses he worked so hard to forget. But compassion can have surprising consequences, because as William discovers, giving so much to others can help heal our past. It will break me, it will make me cry, but it's one I'm really wanting to read, so that's why I added it to the TBR. I hope it doesn't break me too much. Now I've got 3 books that are series books that I want to do, because I'm still trying to tackle my series, and this video is already longer than I wanted. So the first one is the last in the trilogy. This is A Rose and a Promise. I've read The Rose Queen and The Winter Rose, and this is the last one in the series. And I can't wait to read it, because I did think The Winter Rose left an ending where I was really excited about. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. And it's set in Liverpool in 1944. I think the war is ending at this time. Though they may be posted miles apart, Caddy and Jez's love for each other is stronger than ever, until Caddy receives a heartbreaking call from Jez's base. Caddy races to be with her beau at his bedside. They make a promise that Caddy hopes she'll never have to keep. In her darkest hour, Caddy is comforted by her friends, and with their support and guidance, she begins to see light at the end of the tunnel. God, this looks like another one that's going to break me. I'm really looking forward to it, though. Then the next one is a happier book, because it's Infamous by Lex Croucher. I love Lex Croucher's writing. It'll be the 3rd book I've read, and the 2nd in the series. I don't think these series are exactly, I think they're sort of standalones that are vaguely connected, because they're set in the Regency era. This one's about 22-year-old aspiring writer Edie Miller and her best friend Rose, who have always done everything together: climbing trees, throwing grapes at boys, sneaking bottles of wine, and practicing kissing. Now they're out in society, Rose is suddenly talking about marriage, and Eddie is horrified. When Eddie meets charming, renowned poet and rival to Lord Byron, Nash Nicholson, he invites her to his crumbling Gothic estate in the countryside. This entourage of eccentric artists enjoys pure hedonism. It's exactly what Eddie thinks she needs in order to finish her novel and make a name for herself. If this is half as good as Reputation, I'm going to bloody love it. And it's a lot lighter than the other books. So, yeah. The next one is the next in the Becky Chambers series. Again, I think they're interlinked. I think you see characters from the first book. From the ground we stand, from our ships we live, from the stars we hope. And it looks like this is about Ashby, Tessa and Ashby. So Tessa so to say home when Ashby led to the stars, but has to question that decision where her position at the fleet is questioned. So Ashby was in the first book. Kip, a reluctant young apprentice, itches for change and doesn't know where to find it. Sawyer, a lost and lonely newcomer, is looking for a place to belong. When a disaster rocks at this already fragile community, those Exonians who call the fleet their home can no longer avoid the inescapable question: what is the purpose of a ship that's reached its destination? I love the author's writing. I've loved the other 2 books in the series. I cannot wait to read this. Now to these next books are just other books that I'm adding on because I wanted to read them. You'll see why. So the first one is for People April, and this is I Am Malala. A lot of people have raved about this book. Again, I know that it could break me. This is the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. It is not a long book. I think it's got questions and writing down the back. Less than 300 pages. It's got pictures. It's got hope. I know that it's going to be hard because obviously everything that happened in the Taliban. When the Taliban kept control of the Swat village, one girl fought for her right for an education. On Tuesday, the 9th of October 2012, she almost paid the ultimate price when she was shot in the head at point-blank range. Malala's extraordinary journey has taken her from a remote valley in northern Pakistan to the halls of the United Nations. She becomes a global sensation of peace and hope and everything else. This does look really good. Then to the next book, which is on the Women's Prize long list, and it's one that a lot of people have raved about already. This is Soldier Sailor by Claire Kilroy. It's on the list for the long list. It's on the women's long list. It has had rave reviews already. I know Jem from Gemma Books has literally loved it, and she said that it made her feel like motherhood was seen. And I'm someone that I found motherhood a lot harder to connect to when I first became a mum. And this is really amazing, apparently. Apparently it's like the perspective. I can't remember what she said. The writing is like stream of consciousness. So I don't know how I'm going to get on with that because I don't normally get on with stream of consciousness. But again, the fact that Jem's loved it and a few other people have said that it's really good is a good sign. Her wildly acclaimed new novel, Claire Gilroy creates an unforgettable heroine whose fierce love for her young son clashes with the seismic change to her own identity. As her marriage strains, she struggles with the questions of autonomy, creativity and the passing of time. And as an old friend makes a welcome return, can he really offer her the lifeline to the woman she used to be? Becoming a mum is a really hard job, and I think it's one that needs to be talked about more, that it isn't always like the peace and flowers and the loving soppiness and all the other stuff. It's a hard job. This is one of the shorter books that was on the long list. Again, just over 200 pages, but it does look really good and I can't wait to read it. Now I thought I'd have a light middle grade to break it all up. The Day That I Fell Into the Fairy Tale by Ben Miller. This is fairy tale-esque. This is Ben Miller, so it's a really fun middle grade. Lana and her brother Harrison are used to playing together until Harrison decides he's too old for games. But when a trip to the supermarket uncovers a magical portal to the world of fairy tales, Lana discovers that the stories aren't a game, and with fairy tale world in danger, can Lana convince Harrison to believe again? Looks like so much fun to break up the harder books that I'm reading. Penultimate book, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is my first Holly Jackson book, and it's the first in the series. I own Good Girl, Bad Blood. I do not own As Good as Bad, which is the last book in the series. Not As Good as Dead, which is the last book in the series. If I like this, I will probably then I'll read Good Girl, Bad Blood, and I may consider getting the third one. If I don't, I can unhaul the series. I've been debating it because it's like a YA thriller-y thing. It's one that's been on my shelf for ages, and it could work for the Clear Out because it's been on my shelf for ages, but nothing's drawn me to it. So I'm wondering how I'm going to do with it. But I know that Danny's reading channel. My brain's not here. I think Danny's channel below. She loved it, so I'm hoping I do. The case is closed. 5 years ago, schoolgirl Andy Bell was murdered by Sal Singh. The police know he did it. Everyone in town knows he did it. But having grown up in the same small town that was consumed by the murder, Pippa Fitz and Moby isn't so sure. When she chooses the case as the topic for her final year project, she starts to uncover secrets that someone in town desperately wants to stay hidden. And if the real killer is still out there, how far will they go to keep Pip from the truth? So it's a thriller. Bit of a longer one. It's about 400 odd pages, but hopefully it's good. Danny liked it. Let's hope I do. Then last but not least, this is a book that Chris got me a couple of years ago, so it is on my longer TBR. This is The Lost Lives of Frances Langley. Chris chose this. It's by Michelle Adams. Love holds the key to a lifetime of secrets. It's very pretty. In the small village of southern France, a willful English girl is in love. Frances Langley has fallen under Benot's romantic spell, but their summer of love finds Frances willing to do almost everything for the handsome young art collector, even hiding a precious artefact stolen by the Nazis decades before. Years later, Frances' son Harry finds himself packing up the clutter and chaos of his late mother's home. But before his mother died, she sent a letter, and the repercussions turn his world upside down when his former soulmate Tabitha comes back into his life. This could be interesting. Not too long. Why do I always tell you the pages? About 360 pages. Looks pretty, looks intriguing. Give it a go. And, right, I'm trying to think. If you got to the end of this video, I always do it. I know I always do this emoji, but if you get to the end of this video, if you can find like a bluebell emoji or one of the flowers that are coming out at the moment, that would be great to add that in the comments. If you don't want to, if you get to the end of this video, let me know by doing one of those emojis. Yeah, like one of those, a bluebell or a flower that's coming into season would be great. I'll just do a flower if you can't think of anything else. Let me know in the comments down below, what are these books you think I should prioritise? What do you think of these books? What books you're excited for? I love chatting to you all in the comments. It makes me so happy. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.